All right, welcome back. So I'm here doing the gateway process. I posted my first two videos. I think it was introduction and focus 10. And I had gotten some advice saying that I should stick with focus 10 for a long time until I kind of like mastered it, which at the time I thought was really good advice. And I still don't think it was bad advice. I'm quite happy with what I was told. I've been posting these videos, and I've only posted two, admittedly, with an explanation coming. I've only posted two, but I've been posting these videos to kind of keep myself honest, to keep track of where I've been going, as a place to put my reflections, as a place for other people to check in. If it resonates with you, super cool. If it doesn't, totally get it. If you have comments for me, love to hear it. Love the community and the engagement and the conversations around it. I'm really excited by everything that's happening. Now, I haven't posted in a little while. And I'll just give an update for myself and for my future self, and my higher self if they're listening or watching. They're not. I got kind of sick during the process, unrelated, but I got like my whole family went through, let's call it a stomach bug that ripped through the family and ripped through each of us, and it actually stopped me from practicing, and I wasn't really sure what to do. I wasn't sure if I should be like pushing through or carrying on, and something inside of me, I just got nice and quiet during a meditation, and something inside of me very pragmatically was like, just get better. This doesn't matter. And not that the gateway process doesn't matter, but trying to stay diligent, trying to stay on top of my two-a-days, all these goals that I had set are kind of like chasing a pipe dream, for me at least, physically speaking, if my body is not well, and if my mind is not well. And so I really prioritized just getting calm and getting quiet and getting better. And I did hop back on to start doing the gateway process tapes again, and I didn't do an update at that point. I kind of felt like I just need to get back into a rhythm. So here I am in a rhythm. A couple things have happened in that time, and I want to put those here and document them. One of the things that did happen, I should have made a tape right away, because I can't replicate the kind of enthusiasm that I had as a result of it, but I'll get to that in 1 second. So yeah, I was doing focus 3, I did focus 10, I did advanced focus 10. I just recently started burning through release and recharge, which I just think is outstanding. I'm really happy with that. I did exploration sleep once. I don't have much to say on that. I have to go back and visit it. But let me just jump ahead. The reason why I kind of did exploration sleep once and free flow once and then moved on to focus 12, which I'll talk about in a minute, is because during that time that I was sick, I went back and I just started doing a lot of reading. I figured if I can't be doing the gateway process, I could be reading about it, I could be thinking about it, all that sort of good stuff. And I just, this was at the same time that Ryan Bledsoe posted his first or second video on Bledsoe Said So, which is a podcast. He went to the Monroe Institute, and he talks about it in a 3-part series. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really great to hear. It's quite grounding, a lot of fantastic information. And I just kind of got it in my head that I was going to go. I'm going to go to the Monroe Institute. I don't know how to get there. I don't have the money. I don't have the means. It's far away. There's all these like obstacles, and I heard all the obstacles in my mind, and I went, well, because those obstacles are coming up, and because something inside of me is saying, here's all the reasons you can't. Okay, you can't tell me what to do, so I'm going to do it. I don't have a timeline on this. I don't really care. I'm just making the decision that I'm going to get there at some point, in a reasonable time frame that's going to be good for me. And I'm not going to commit myself to like January 5th, I'm going to be there. It's not that. It's just more of an intention that I think mattered. Anyways, so I Googled it, obviously, as one does, and I pulled up Monroe Institute. And as I was doing it, I'm in Canada, by the way. As I was doing it, the first thing that auto-populated on my Google, I'm sure it does that like algorithmically, was Monroe Institute, Canada. And I found out that there was a center right near where I live, hop, skip, and a jump. And I pulled it up, and there wasn't really clear information about it. It looked like it said temporarily closed, and I didn't understand why. So old me, old stories, old everything in my mind would have said, okay, well, that's done. And I kind of got quiet and I listened to that, and I was like, who's saying that? That's not me. So I phoned, and it rang and rang and rang and rang and rang and rang and rang. And I stayed on the line far too long, and then someone picked up. And I ended up having a conversation with the person who ran the Monroe Institute in Canada for, I don't know, I think 12, 15 years, something like that. Had the contract. Everyone, he ran it. He ran the Monroe Institute up in Canada. I guess there is or were satellite places, and that he was one of the original practitioners, and that he's still a working teacher at the Monroe Institute. He should be there in August teaching. Anyways, he was just so lovely. It was surprising to talk to somebody, and to say that when I got off the call, I fanboyed hard. I really did. I like kind of lost my mind. It gave me a great opportunity to talk to somebody. I asked him if he wanted to be my private teacher. He laughed and didn't take me up on it. So yeah, I get it. But I said I'll go over to the island and I'll visit, and like I'll do anything that has to happen. Anyways, that's obviously not his jam. But I just kind of like soft lobbed it, playing and teasing, but it did give me an opportunity to ask him some questions. I said, the only community that I have is on Reddit, and it's a fantastic community, but I don't know who I'm talking to, so I don't know if I'm getting good advice, bad advice, or something somewhere in between. I love the Reddit community, and I actually feel like I'm getting pretty great advice a lot of the time, but I also think that for those of us who are earlier in our practice, there are people who are quite annoyed hearing perhaps the same questions over and over. I believe the expectation is you go and you read through every single thread until you find the needle in the haystack that you're looking for, and sometimes that's realistic. I try to read every thread, but like sometimes it's just not. Sometimes you have a question that you think is unique, you feel is unique, it's special to you, and somebody kind of responds with a like, anyways, with a less than helpful point of view. TLDR, back to the conversation. He was wonderful, and one of the things he talked about with me on the phone, I said I'd gotten advice that I should really master Focus 10, I should stay in it as long as I could, and maybe consider staying in it up to 6 months, and he was like, no. He was like, if you're there and you're getting it, he's like, you can come back to it, move on. He's like, the magic starts happening at 12 and 15, which I thought was really lovely. And it was just really grounding for me, and really like, I don't know what it is. It gave me permission. It created space for me to not have to be such a rule follower around it, and not have to be so rigid with it. And it helped me recognize that I'm holding on to a lot of expectation. Even though in my waking life and my daily life, I don't think I am. If you were to ask me about it, I'm like, I'm just doing it for fun, and I kind of am. But I think deep down inside, there's something at play deep in the recesses of this thing that wants more out of it, and that's perhaps creating some obstacles that I am having a hard time with. Anyways, so after talking with that gentleman, who I just thought it was such an amazing thing that somebody picked up the phone and they were so generous with it. And he said a lot of things on that call that were really profound and exciting, and that made it clear to me that I do want to go and work with somebody who is a master at this, who's a pro at this, somebody who can offer a little bit more guidance, but conversely, also that I can do it, that it's accessible. It's accessible to everybody, and it just takes practice. And there are going to be people whose faculty acclimates to it faster, and there's going to be people whose faculty acclimates to it slower. And as long as you're spending time sort of going in and allowing and surrendering, it'll happen, and you'll get there. And so I've been really working on not beating myself up about it if something that I've read about isn't happening to me, because I don't know, who cares? It's not my journey. I've said this in the last 2 tapes as well, but like, I'm just so excited to be having these experiences, whether they are I click out and I don't remember anything, or I remember all of it and it's a nothing burger, or something really rad happens and it's exciting. It's all just part of the tapestry of wherever it is that I'm going. So anyways, after I got off the call with this gentleman, I did continue because I had been sick. I sort of like went back to the original Focus 10, dove into it, did Focus 10 Advanced, it did all the stuff, whatever, I'm not going to keep renaming it, did all of those things for a little bit more, and I did have some really different experiences after having spoken to him, some that involved sort of like waves of color coming in, some with profound silences and sort of like a guiding voice that didn't always tell me anything, but but that was there. Some I can remember well, some I can't remember. I don't really have a takeaway story from any of it. The release and recharge is the one that really stands out for me as something that I've used to create stillness in my day-to-day. And I've been finding that to be a pretty powerful tool and a pretty simple tool to just be able to drop into that meditation, do it, and get out of it. And excuse me, and now I'm getting to a place where I feel like I can do that without the tapes. And that free flow was really interesting, and I need to get back to that and try that a few more times. Because what I hadn't been doing, the two things that I haven't been doing is I haven't been setting a clear, powerful intention with each time that I go into it, which I really think that I can challenge myself to consider more. And if anybody has wisdom on intention setting, I would love to get a comment on that or hear something about it. So I haven't been setting intentions, and then the other thing that I haven't been doing is I haven't really been putting it all together myself without guidance. So when I got to I think it's first in release and recharge where he's like, get yourself to focus 10 and I'll meet you there, I was like, oh shit, okay. And I had to like scramble in my mind to remember how to do everything, even though I knew it all. I just kind of panicked. So free flow I think is really about creating that code. Anyway, so at the end of this video I'm going to tell you that I graduated out of Focus 10. What does that mean? Nothing. It means that I'll go back and I'm going to keep practicing it, but that I'm going to start integrating Focus 12. And today was the first day that I did Focus 12. So I'm actually just going to end this video and I'm going to start a Focus 12 video because I think that makes it a little bit cleaner. Anyways, my TLDR is I spoke to somebody from the Monroe Institute and it was amazing. And they kind of gave me permission to tackle this from a whole different direction. And not that I'm about to go rogue or anything, but I actually do still want to follow it in order and be a bit of a rule follower. But I don't feel as though there's a preciousness to the piece by piece of it anymore. And so I'm really excited to just kind of see what happens when I drop in. The other thing that has happened throughout these different meditations, and fun fact, I randomly, maybe not entirely randomly, but relatively randomly, have now been in touch with two separate people who have access to energy fields, clairvoyance, mediums, etc., etc., etc. And both of them said the exact same things with regards to how my energy functions, which was really interesting. It was interesting to hear it once, and like fully the first time I heard it, I was like, bet, I believe you. And then the second person said it, and they're states away from each other, and I'm not even in the States. There's no way that these two people knew each other or heard each other or anything like that. And they use the same sentences, so the second time I heard it, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Say what? Come again? That was interesting. And it's really encouraged me to start reading about different aspects of the energy field. Because as much as I had already bought into it through the gateway process and hearing all the things, switch hands here. As much as I already bought into it, I don't have a ton of knowledge around things like, I didn't mean to make that face. That face had nothing to do with judgment of what I was about to say, but more just like that I really feel adrift. I haven't researched Reiki and chakras and how energy fields work. I'm really interested in the Akashic records and have been for a while, and I've worked to access a few times, but I haven't really honed that skill. And so I think one of the things that the gateway process has really done for me, and this is one of the things that happened in my quietest meditation, was just to trust that it's all there and that I need to go further. And so I've started reading and I've started practicing other modalities just to see what comes out of it. I went to my first Reiki treatment kind of out of nowhere. I was literally walking by a place that said, we do Reiki, and I knocked on the door and was like, do you do Reiki right now? Is there someone in there? And they said, yeah. And I was like, all right, sign me up. How was it? I don't know. Jury's out, but it was a good Band-Aid to rip off. Yeah, and I've also downloaded the Monroe Expand app, and so I've had the opportunity to do some extra meditations on the side, which more than anything, I just like having access to that. It turns out I always used to meditate with just my mind and my silence, and it turns out I like having some sort of guidance in my ears. And what's even cooler is there have been a couple times where the guidance wasn't in my ears and it was just in my head. and it belonged to me, and that was pretty interesting. Anyways, wrap this up. Whatever. Focus 10. Check. We're there. I'm gonna go back and keep chipping away at it because I think that there's so much more to discover. I just read a guy on Reddit post that, or maybe I don't know if it was a guy. I read somebody on Reddit post that Focus 10 only works for them when they do the tape back to back. Haven't tried that. I'll try it too. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know if I'm looking for something, but I feel like the achievement of mind awake, body asleep has happened. And I've really bought into it looks different for everybody. I don't know what mind awake is supposed to mean universally. I don't know what body asleep is supposed to mean. I've read things from paralysis to deep rest to whatever. I can reference it to what I think was called a Bangara state. Maybe that might not be it. Or being like a float tank where I don't really know where my body ends and the rest of the world begins. And that sort of lack of sort of like conscious understanding of where my body is in time and space feels like nothingness, and certainly feels like body asleep. And during those times, my mind is awake. Sometimes my mind is awake and not alert. It's doing its own thing. It's like showing me a movie. Not a movie from the real world, not like Devil Wears Prada or something like that. A movie like it's just on repeat, showing me something nonstop. Sometimes there's silence there, and I can actually like ask questions. Sometimes there's a full-on conversation in my mind that doesn't feel like monkey mind. It just feels like something being told to me through dialogue. And I don't know what any of them are. I just listen and pay attention. And I've just today started journaling. Which is dumb. If you're listening to this and you've made it this far, I'm so sorry. This is 17 minutes. It wasn't supposed to be. If you've made it this far, start journaling on day one. I thought I was going to make videos every day, and I'm an idiot. The journal is probably very helpful. Anyways, wrap this up. Focus 10. Check. Mind awake, body asleep. Lots of cool stuff. Not going to do it for 6 months. Moving on to Focus 12 today. Bye.